Hi everyone, this is Tiana from Maniology, and thank you so much for joining me today. Okay, I'm gonna jump right in because I think this technique might be a little bit longer to show you, but if you're new here to Maniology, welcome. And if you're not familiar with Maniology, we're here to empower your self-expression one manicure at a time. The creative process, it can be fun, it can be messy and spontaneous, but no matter how you create, we want you to fall in love with yourself as an individual. So today I'm going to be jumping in on gradients. And before I do that, I need to show you guys just how beautiful. So I know some of our nail fans out there, they love to collect our stampers. And if you didn't know already, we actually have these limited edition scraper cards. Aren't they so pretty? They're see-through. I don't think you can really see, but so this one is like a gradient, very appropriate for what I'm going to be talking about today. This one says Maniology, Express Yourself. This is beautiful. Shout out to Katie, our designer. So yeah, this comes in a pack of 4. It's so fun. I'm sure you guys will love it. So it's on the website. Go ahead and pick it up. And I'm going to be using one of these today. So like I said, today's topic is going to be about gradients. And before I get into the technique and how you do it, I want to actually talk about a couple of tools that you'll need to actually make the process a lot nicer. And I guess what I'm talking about mostly is just the cleanup process. So back in the day, I think I've shared this before, but me, I like to share a couple of stories. Can you believe that people, we used to actually put Scotch tape around the cuticle and the top part of our nail in order to do a gradient? Isn't that crazy? Thank goodness technology has come a long way since then. And thank you for everybody who's listening where you're at. We see some people from, the US and Canada. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm going to show you, these are Mani masks. So this is our original Mani mask. The function for both is the same. The blue one is our limited edition that came from our Mani by Me subscription box. But basically, this is just a cuticle protector. And what you do is, I'm going to show you a quick demonstration. If it's not the cleanest, I'm sorry. Let me just put my finger there. So what you do is freely just put it around your cuticle. And this is latex free for those of you who have latex allergy. Okay. I'm sorry for the dryness there. So I'm just gonna gob it on. And sometimes gradients, they tend to get a little messy. So again, just go ahead and put it freely around the skin of your cuticle. Another thing too, do not forget this part of the skin, especially if you're short nails, or if you're wearing short nails like I am. I'm really nub. And I say that lovingly. I like my short nails. Don't forget the skin over here because you will get polish on this part. And yeah, we want to make the cleanup as easy as possible. So right here, I did put on quite a bit so you can see. Just let that dry, and then you'll go ahead, do the gradient process, and then go ahead and just lift off. Once you use one of these sponges, you're going to sponge on the polish, and then when you're done, you're just going to go ahead and peel that off. Okay, so that's that. Again, no difference. You just get another really cool color, a limited edition there. If we also have this other product too, which is also a cuticle protector, but this is a sticker. And again, this is another limited edition item that came with our Mani by Me boxes. All of these items you can find on our website at www.maniology.com. And so basically, okay, let me see if I can show you guys how to use this while my finger is drying. Pretty simple process. The concept is still the same. So you just line it up against your cuticle. Again, I wouldn't be doing both of these things at the same time, but I just wanted to kind of show you. So you line that, and it's stretchable too, as you can see. Just stretch that part. Make sure to cover the top part of your skin there because polish will get there. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to stay in frame and do this at the same time. Okay. And there you go. Just nicely hugs your nail like that. See how it protects the top over here? So when polish kind of overlaps, once you're like sponging the polish on, I can kind of just give you a little, you see how that would happen? Yeah. So protect the top part. It eliminates you from having to do too much cleanup with acetone after. Okay. So yeah, I'll just leave those on for now. So actually you can see how this is drying. There was like two little parts over here that looked kind of wet and goopy, but now they're drying onto my skin. Super, super simple to just peel off the skin. Okay. Probably just needs to dry a little bit more. All right, I'm so sorry for the moving. Okay, so those are the items that I would definitely recommend as a protecting agent when doing gradients. Now, let me go into the process of how you do a gradient. So you're gonna be using a clean sponge. Now I recommend, oh my goodness, sorry about that. I have this arm handle here, so it's like right in my way. Sorry, let me just kind of lightly adjust that. Okay, so I'm using a makeup sponge, or a wedge rather. I've seen a lot of people do gradients with all different kinds of sponges, but this is the one that I recommend. If you've seen any of our manicures that we've created in-house, this is the product that we're using. I believe I picked up a whole bag of these at my local TJ Maxx for super cheap. You could probably even find this at your Target or a drugstore, super cheap. And yeah, sorry, I think I'm kind of jumping ahead, but you know, most people, I guess when you're doing a gradient, you have like a whole design. So unless you're doing gradients in many different colors, don't think that you have to just use, you know, it one time and start using 10 sponges when you're doing a gradient. You may only have to use just one or two depending. And I'm going to show you why, because all you have to do is just cut this part and then you have a clean sponge. Gradually it'll get smaller, but you know, then you just grab another one, but at least you're not wasting it, only using it once. Okay. So I have these little tips that I've done for you, and these are just some simple gradients. You can get really creative with these if you want to. Oh, Jolene, you're doing your nails and watching this. That's talent. I can't really talk and do a live at the same time, so it's talented. But over here, for the gradient, I am just doing a horizontal gradient. So this is kind of like a lime yellow color to a really beautiful teal, and then I stamped. And I'm just showing you to, like, you could just use your nail design as just a gradient, but I'm including stamping because we love stamping here. Here is a vertical gradient, and here I actually did a circle gradient. So basically I just put the color in the center and then a darker color around. So let's see. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the demonstration. Before I go ahead and do that though, or maybe I'll just go into the tips after. Yeah, it'll probably be easier. Okay, so here's a tip that has nothing on it. Okay, now I'm going to use two colors today. So here I got Seashell, which is like a hot pinky color. And then I also have Boy's Tears, which is like a purple blue blurple color. Okay. So actually this technique I'm going to show you is going to be something like this, where it's kind of like a reverse. You see, I'm just using 2 polish colors. I mean, aside from the black and the silver, but yeah, it's just a reverse gradient. I figured that might be kind of fun. Okay, let me move to this side. This little handle here is so tricky. Okay, so let's see. Don't lift up too much. The handle is like right here at my wrist, right where I need to bend. Okay. So freely just put polish onto your sponge. Like that. Okay. Don't be afraid to just gob it on. And then also overlap the colors too, because what you're going to want to do is make sure that they blend. I might have to put more purple since I'm gabbing on with you guys. So excuse me. So you see that? The colors overlap. So the next thing I'm going to do, after I generously put all of those colors on, I'm just going to blot it. And that process, what it's going to do is to help kind of blend the colors together. So So I'm doing it lightly, and this is just a light, even coat. Actually, I forgot some polish right there. Okay. What you don't want to do right now, especially because it's still wet, is continue to keep blotting the way that I did. Now, even though the center part is not, you know, I see a little bit purple that kind of made it a little too far into the pink, as, you know, I want to eventually fix that. What I'm going to do is wait though, because what can end up happening is your design will be way too textured, and I can actually show you a mistake. So this is what happens if you keep on blotting. So you see how it's just very uneven and stuff, and that's what happens if the polish is just too wet. It just starts pushing the polishes over and over and over, and then it starts to just look really yucky. So I'm just going to wait for that. It doesn't have to completely dry, but at least it needs to be dry enough where it's not going to push the polish aside. This is a really, you want a thin coat because you're going to be layering these things. And I know that Devon has actually gone through in a previous Maniology live about using the sponging technique, not necessarily for gradients, but, you know, so the polishes dry quicker. And I see a question from Wendy. Yes, I am using sponging polish. I'm using stamping polish. You can do this with regular polish. I'm sure many of you at home have like your own collection of just regular polishes, and I'm going to show you something too. So granted, I did use our Rainbow Splash, which is a sheer stamping polish, in order to show this technique, but I just wanted to show you the difference. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell through the video and stuff how sheer this one is versus this. Now, aside from the yuckiness of the way that it's sponged on, I actually put a white base. Now that's just a tip. If you have any regular polishes that are just slightly sheer and you don't want to be gobbing on all the polish, because, you know, over the time it could get to be a very thick, long process, and, you know, we don't want to do that. So just think of it as like painting your house, you know, and you have to use a primer, which is a white color. Same thing with your nail. Paint on some white polish, regular polish, stamping polish, and then go ahead and do the gradient with a light colors, maybe pastel colors, maybe a really soft yellow. It'll really help to just kind of make the colors pop, and hopefully you won't have to do so much sponging as well. So there's like the sheerness, and this is how opaque it is. This was actually with 2 sponges and it's still very see-through. This is only with 1 sponge. Okay. Lacey, do you know a way to do this technique without a sponge? Can you do it with any Maniology plates? I think Lacey is onto something. Devon actually had done a previous Maniology live show. We do have a plate. I believe it's M052 that is a rectangle. Yes, you can do this technique without a sponge, but I'm going to show the sponge method because I think this is a technique that if you don't have the plate, you can do. So yeah, but yes, you can. We've figured out a way to do that. Okay, so now it's dry enough, so I'm going to go ahead and do the process over again. Now, just so you guys know, this sponge is still very pliable. Okay, let me show you a sponge that is not. You see how hard it's so crusty on the top. You can't reuse the top of this again. Okay, so this is at the point where you would just cut this part off, you know, not very much. Just take your scissors, cut that part off, and then reuse a sponge. But this is not usable. This I'm going to reuse again. Very, very pliable. It's still slightly damp. Okay, so again, we're just going to go ahead and do that process over again. And again, I'm just being heavy-handed. You know, when you do this process, you can kind of figure out the best method that kind of works for you. So again, don't forget to blot, just to kind of help mold the colors together. And then stamp or sponge. So used to saying stamp all the time. Get some more pink over there. Okay, it's looking good. Okay. So another thing too, so again, we're just gonna let this part sit and dry because I am gonna stamp over this. Another thing you don't want to do is when you keep blotting like that, and again, it's not fully dry, so it's still slightly tacky. What can happen if you just keep going for it, is there's like these little sponge residue pieces that will end up on your nail, and you can see it. It'll start to get really chunky. You don't want to do that. So you still want to keep your nail looking very smooth and everything. So once you put your top coat, whether it's gloss or matte, even a matte, because matte shows like all the imperfections, you just want to lightly dab this on. Okay. So, hey, really cool. We see some people giving some really nice tips about where they found their sponges and stuff. Again, it doesn't have to be really expensive. I think TJ Maxx, maybe you might luck out and find something at like the clearance section. Again, it's just a makeup wedge. So something really, really simple. Okay. So while we're doing that, let me just go ahead and get my little stamping sticky stamper station prepped here because I'm going to be using my stamper. And today I'm going to be using the monocle stamper. Been really, really enjoying using my monocle stamper. So I'm just going to make sure that my stamper head is all even sitting in there. It looks very good. Okay. And I'm actually going to be using this plate. This is M121. I'm going to be using the one of these beautiful optical illusion images. This plate actually just released, so it's currently on our site, and I've seen so many really cool manicures come from this. This is actually a revamped plate. We did release them at some point when we were selling just square stamping plates, but now it's on a rectangular plate. So yep, if you don't have this, get this in your arsenal. It's a really, really fun plate. Some cool, cool stuff coming out of this. Okay. Okay. So let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead and do, let's see. this image in the center. That looks really fun. So like I said, I'm going to do the reverse, which means that I want purple on the top and I want the pink on the bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to blend it in the center there. So basically, you know, you're just going to do the reverse of what I did on the nail. So in my mind, this just works out better. So I'm actually going to do it in reverse. So let me do the purple. And then I'm going to do the pink. Okay, and keep in mind that the direction I'm doing this, right, because I want to keep these colors in this direction, I'm actually going to be scraping in that direction as well. So like this. So you see how the colors kind of hold together? Of course, I picked up a lot, so I'm just going to take off the excess there. I love this scraper, it's so pretty. Actually, it's the colors that I'm using today. This is perfect. Okay. So now, let's see. Oops. Sorry. I was really anxious and I didn't want it to kind of mess up there, and then I ended up pushing in my stamper head. But yeah, what do you guys think of this? Give me some hearts if you really love this technique. So yeah, you can do this with any two colors you want. If you want to get creative, you can probably add another color in there, but yeah, I'm really happy with the way that turned out. So let's see. I don't want to ramble, but I did write some notes here because there are some tips, but I know I kind of covered some of these and I don't want to repeat myself. Okay. Da, 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 da. I think we're good. So the process for the gradient, you know, again, you just, on a clean sponge, you apply your colors onto the sponge, then you blot it to help mix the colors. And don't forget to overlap the colors on your sponge too. That'll help the blending process. And then blot onto your nail. Wait for it to dry if you feel like you need to do another coat, which I think most people do. So just wait for it to dry to a point where it's still tacky but not super uber wet. Then go for it again, apply the polish, repeat the steps. If you want just a gradient without the stamping, then just go ahead and seal with a glossy or a matte top coat. But in this case, because I did stamping, we're going to use our smudge-free top coat. So here, smudge-free. Then after that, if I wanted to go ahead and put a matte top coat, I can, which is actually what I did with this design. So yeah, give me a thumbs up if you guys love this. I would love to see your guys' designs. Yeah, definitely tag us. Or if you want to recreate something like this too, I'm sure you have plates and polishes at home that you could do your own rendition of this. I know some of you guys are asking about some of our products and stuff if they're sold out. We're doing our best to get the items back in stock. You know, with COVID right now, it's really kind of put everybody in a tizzy, I think, right now with shipping and, you know, but we're trying to get our items restocked as soon as possible, you know, to keep you guys creative and, you know, just, yeah, not necessary to keep you guys busy, but you know, I think sometimes nails can also help keep families together and stuff too, or maybe it's just like a creative outlet for yourself, you know, at this time. I think everybody kind of needs that. So I hope these videos really help to inspire you to want to try something different, or if you haven't done it in a long time, then it'll really help to kind of re-inspire you to do some of these things. If there's questions that perhaps I'm not hitting up, we will get to them usually throughout the week. So feel free to write them down. Oh, actually, maybe this now would be a good time to show you me peeling off this Mani mask. So there you go. So just assume that, you know, just all that sponging and stuff. I think I waited way too long. Now it's going to come off kind of crusty. But usually it comes off in a really nice piece like that. There you go. So there. So you just assume that all the polish, all the excess polish would be on here, leaving very minimal cleanup there. Same thing with this. Normally what I do is I just go ahead, kind of lift off, because we don't want any of that polish to kind of cake back onto our nail there, and just rip it off. Pretty simple. So again, less acetone you have to use, which is great. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for watching, you know, this Maniology Live. I just want to remind you guys that, you know, Maniology Live is a weekly show that we get to do here with, you know, it allows us to chit chat with you as well as show you helpful educational tutorials on nail stamping and other nail techniques. So tune in next week with Devon on Tuesday for our next live. And it was so lovely for you guys to join me. Take care, guys. Be safe. Bye.